What did you do that made your husband the most vulnerable you've ever seen him? My husband became a robot, and I do not know what to do. We have been married for 6 years. We have 2 kids. I am currently pregnant with our 3rd child. My husband works from 9 to 5. He comes home, does his chores, plays with our 2 kids, talks to me for a little bit, and then goes to sleep. But he doesn't seem to enjoy doing any of it. It is like this whole thing is one big chore. He used to be this goofy guy, who smiled and told jokes all the time. However, I haven't seen the man smile in months. It's not like he's neglecting his duties as a husband and father. But he acts like it's just that, duties. Like hanging with the kids and me is a second job. I'm grateful for all he's doing. He makes all of our lives so much easier, but it's like he's constantly on the clock. I think he might be depressed. I tried asking him if he was doing okay. He tells me that he's doing fantastic. That's the line he uses at work, when customers try to make small talk and ask how he's doing. He doesn't take any time for himself. He doesn't take any breaks. He stopped playing games. He stopped watching television. He just does what he thinks needs to be done. Our intimacy has become one-sided. We do it frequently, but only because I initiate often. Even if he doesn't seem in the mood, he'll do it. It's like it's his responsibility to make me happy. It feels like he isn't there in the moment, like his mind is wandering the whole time we're intimate. To me, it feels worse than getting rejected. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to help because he won't let me in. To anybody else, he seems fine. I know something is wrong, and I don't know how to fix this. I miss my husband, the guy who complained and told jokes. I do not like this robotic shell that looks like him. One night, I decided to speak with my husband. I am not good at confrontation. So, I wrote down everything I wanted him to know. He came home at around 6 o'clock. After he had something to eat, I took him to the bedroom to talk. I sat him down on the bed. I told him I was worried about him. I didn't know exactly how to phrase my worries, so I just showed him what I wrote. When he finished reading it, he started crying, like full-on crying. In all the years that I have known this man, I have never seen a tear roll down his eye. I held him for a few minutes until he could recompose himself. He told me everything. He told me that the world was in a crap place right now, and that we're bringing a child into a stressful time. He said that when I became pregnant, he felt he had to step up. He needed to take care of things because it was his responsibility. He said that the weight of carrying the family was so much harder than he anticipated. So, he thought if he doubled down, he could get through it. But the more he tried, the darker the tunnel got. Eventually, he couldn't see an end. He said that he feels like he's constantly drowning. The only breath of fresh air for him is the car ride between home and work. He said that sometimes the stress is so much that he throws up, but he doesn't tell anyone. Instead, he keeps going with his day. He then pulled out a pack of gum from his pocket. He said, this was for when it happens. I asked him why he couldn't tell me any of this. He said he didn't want to burden me with the truth. He thought that if he told me everything, I would stop seeing him as a protector and provider. He said he was afraid that I would inevitably stop loving him. Hearing him say this brought tears to my eyes. I didn't know where he got the notion that I would feel that way. I asked him if he wanted to quit his job. Surprisingly, he said the job didn't bother him. He said the work itself was fine. He now feels an added weight to provide because not only was he fortunate enough to keep his job during the pandemic, but we also had a kid on the way. He said that some days, he feels like packing a suitcase and running to some tropical island for a week, not telling anyone. But then he feels guilty and doubles down even more. I told him that maybe he should go on a trip. I said that he deserved a break, and maybe if he did exactly that, he'd feel better. He tried to protest, but I insisted. In the end, he said that he'd only go if we go together, like a romantic getaway between spouses. We realized that a 1-week vacation wasn't enough to get rid of his stress. So, we both tried to come up with a solution to alleviate his stress in a more sustainable way. Right now, we're thinking about setting up an hour or 2 a day. We will call it daddy time. There will be no kids, no me, and no work, just for him to relax. Once things start to clear up and before the baby is due, he wants to take a week off from work. He would drop the kids off at grandma's house, and have us go on a vacation. Just the 2 of us, like we used to when we first got married. He also said he wants to take the day off tomorrow and just sleep in, so that's the plan. I'll call his boss tomorrow and say that he's sick and can't come in. It's not like they'll make a sick man come to work. Right now, he's playing with the kids. Finally, it doesn't feel like he's doing one of his chores. He actually seems to be enjoying himself. For the first time in months, I don't see a robot. I see my husband.